You're recording? It's back over here. Hello, everybody. You're listening to Startup Secrets for Entrepreneurs, and I'm your host, Shelby Oleschlager. Our mission here is to help entrepreneurs make a difference and navigate the messy world of startup and relaunch. Join me today where we dig deep with our guests to get you the best concepts and strategies to fast track your business. Today, our special guest is Susan and Martin Fisher. They're with us today as a couple, and they have a very unique business. So thank you so much for joining us, Susan and Martin. And to get started, please, one of you, tell us a bit of what you do.
Well, Martin and I run a company called Body of Nine, and it's been a startup for a few years now, and it's based off a discovery that there are 9 physiologically different kinds of people. And Martin and I have together researched this actively for the last 12 years, and I've been working on it for the last 20. To understand how our nature is informing us versus our nurture. So our bodies are equipped with 9 centers, 3 in the head, 3 in the chest, and 3 in the core of the body. And when you're born, one is born active, and it shapes everything about your reality, how you perceive the world around you, your core values, what you're good at, what you look like, how you move, are all predicated on your natural number. So we have go ahead.
No, you go, keep going.
Well, our business is essentially identifying people's natural numbers and teaching people to activate all 9 natural numbers in the body, and helping coaches, holistic practitioners integrate this into their practice so they can accelerate their impact. And then we work with organizations to help with team building and professional development and different aspects of improving communication in the workplace.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about what it is now. How does this come about, and why is it so important for us to know our body number?
Well, Susan and I have both a fair amount of experience doing startups, and I was a very early employee at Yahoo. I was an early employee at Oracle. We both worked for Tom Siebel at time in the past. So we're used to building companies and understand the stress that happens when you're doing a startup. And there's a lot of stress involved. And part of that stress is a lack of communication, because the way that you experience the world with your natural number is going to be different than pretty much everyone that's working with you. So it's important to know not only what is it that every employee can do, because anybody can do anything. We're not saying that you have to do a particular thing as a particular natural number, but the way each natural number does a particular job is going to be very specific to that natural number. So the ability to understand the communication within the group, the ability to make sure that everyone's heading in the same direction, because you really need all the management team and the employees in the same direction in a startup. So if you have somebody that you don't know how to communicate with, that's going to break down the communication that's so critical for small companies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's one example of how it's so useful. It starts with you understanding yourself at that level of your nature. This is what you were born to do and be. This part of you that's easy peasy, and you're already good at it. You don't work at it. Everything else is kind of learned on top, positive, negative, and all the things that get layered on us as our nurture, which is what most personality systems out there measure, is actually our nurture, not our nature. And so this gets you through your body straight to what you're really good at. And then in a workplace, a family, or between a coach and their client, first you understand you, but then also understanding them. So that instead of me trying to put myself onto you and ask you to be the way I am, I can say, oh, Shelby, you're a natural number 2. So I know when I greet you, I need to say hello. I need to look you in the eye because you care about that. I, as a natural number 6, I don't really care about that. In fact, it can be a little confusing for me to look you in the eye. But I've learned through my ability to activate a different natural number that I can be with you more effectively if I engage with you. And I actually get much more out of the experience if I can actually modify how my natural way is to support you in the interaction. So this enhances our ability to perceive other people and to receive the gifts they offer and to understand what they're saying, because we all use the same words, but in reality, they mean 9 different things.
So in business, if I came up to you and said, hey, Shelby, I need this report on my desk by tomorrow, without saying hello, without
looking you in the eye.
Yeah, without doing anything that honors the relationship.
Yeah, turn around and walked away. You'd be like, it's like shell shock for you.
Right. And so the ability to honor everyone around you to accept that everyone has a gift to give you. And also in a business, to actually encourage that gift to be given is critical to the way humanity moves.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We're just exploring this in our own organization. We're up to 9 people now, and it's we still don't have all 9 natural numbers in our organization, even though we consciously pay attention to that. But when we're adding to our team, we think about, okay, what do we need now, and what would be the best natural number to perform that next role? Or we just get somebody in and say, what can you do? And what do you want to do? And how does that light you up? So there's this bi-directional hiring process that we have of matching skills, but also understanding what a person's going to be good at based off of their body.
Because if you don't include all 9, you're going to miss things. For example, if we didn't have a natural number 2 in our organization, we wouldn't be looking at how do we build relationships with our clients, not just give them a product. If we didn't have a natural number 3 in our organization, sometimes we'd feel we need inspiration, because natural number 3 is great with inspiration. If we didn't have a natural number 1 in our organization, which we do, but only part-time, then we wouldn't have the ability to have beauty. If we didn't have a natural number 5, like me, we'd have no big picture. So each of the natural numbers can provide a fundamental capability into the organization. And with all 9, it's really hard not to succeed, because you've got every position and every thought covered.
And many small startups don't have all 9, especially if they have a duplication of one of the energies. We just identified a company here in Bozeman, and they had 3 natural number 1s. The leader, one of the 3 partners, was the 1, and they had hired 2 more 1s. So there were only 11 people, and that meant they were missing 2 of the natural numbers. So understanding that as a business owner, like, what am I missing? Okay, that's real to be missing that. Do I need that now? If so, how am I going to bring that in? Sometimes we'll just, call up a friend that has that natural number and run something by them, just so we get that input, because we want to have that wholeness of input into our process.
Because we've all been trained as managers and leaders. So, okay, let's understand the people we're working with. Let's do DISC, or let's do Myers-Briggs, or any of these things. But those are relatively, firstly, static. There's no action that you can do because they're not body-based. And secondly, they're very not body-based. There's very much answering questions. Well, how do I want to answer this? Who am I? Maybe my boss wants me to answer it this way, or maybe today I'm feeling happy, so I'm going to answer it one way, but yesterday I was feeling sad, so I'm going to answer it a different way. The natural number is body-based. But not only just about who you are, but how can you excite that person? How can you bring out their natural products, their natural purpose? How can you encourage them and inspire them to be their best all the time in the organization, so that they can encourage everyone else to be their best? It's a level of excitement but calmness at the same time. It's a little difficult to describe, but when all 9 are together, it's calm, but the possibilities are immense.
The other really cool thing about it is that in an organization, if you see something is needed, that inherently in your body and through your own experience, and other people are not perceiving what you're perceiving. So for example, if you're a natural number 9 and you're working on a process with a team, you can see based off of your 9ness where it's going to go wrong and how it's going to kind of spiral out of control well before anybody else can.
So knowing about the natural 9, knowing about the body of 9, as a manager or a leader, you can say to your natural number 9, does it feel like it's all working well?
Yeah. Where is this going wrong? What have we left out? What have we not included that we really need to consider?
And at the same time, that as a person in the team, you may be the only person that is thinking what you're thinking. It's not like everyone is thinking it and no one's saying it, although obviously we've had that happens too. But if there's something that suddenly you realize, whoops, we don't know this, or we're missing this, then if you don't bring that wisdom, and if you assume that everybody else can do what you do, you're not going to be helping, because everyone else cannot do what you do and doesn't know what you do.
And even the words are like, because the word connection is a really interesting one, because natural numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 teaches 4 different ways to make connections. One way is to honor people. That's what 1s teach us. How do I honor everybody? How do I treat everybody fairly in my organization? How do I respect them and make sure their voice is heard? 2 is, who are you? How are you? Let's go. We're in connection. Let's engage. 3 is, I'm going to look straight into who you are, and I'm going to inspire your soul into action. And we're going to make things happen that are along our biggest purpose.
And it's going to be fun, and we're going to do it together, and we're all going to feel energized.
Yes. And then 4 is like, okay, I'm going to help you to know where your authenticity lies and where you are being authentic and where you're not, because true intimacy comes from authenticity.
And the more authentic you are as an organization, the more that everyone in the organization feels honored, the more that everyone feels that they're being seen for their real selves, the more effective and the more fun it is for the employees.
Right. So first we have to build relationship, and that's what people in the workplace that are 1, 2, 3, and 4 are helping to create. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are your transformation energies, the creation of a process, the gathering of the information, the structuring of the team, the changes, laying out the changes and process that need to happen, understanding the energy, how to bring energy into something to create movement, making sure it's safe and built with integrity, inclusive of everyone.
Keeping everything harmonious. And it's all, we sort of get excited about this, but being with you helps us know how to talk about what we're doing in relationship to all the challenges that your listeners are suffering as a startup, because being in a startup is very, very hard.
It is.
The percentage of startups,
we're always missing things.
Yeah, the percentage of startups that succeed is low. So it's a fantastic, awesome place to be, because I think everyone here enjoys being in startups. But it's tough. And this is one of the reasons that we don't understand everyone around us.
And how to bring the best out in people so they feel fulfilled in what they're doing. We ask people in startups to work hard and to really share the vision for the organization. And it's most effective when we do share a vision. So for us at Body of 9, we put everybody through, we get everybody's natural number identified, and we put them through our own training, because we want them to truly understand how to support their clients, our clients, each other, and then how do they make sure to bring their wisdom forward? Because as we say, no, everybody in our organization is equal from the perspective of the value that they're adding from their nature.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So much goodness. I think it's just so fascinating. And the idea is, so before the interview, everyone listening, they figured out my natural number in a matter of a couple minutes. And I'm still a little bit like mind blown about all that, but I just think it's so cool, and just how important it really is for these organizations to consider and take it seriously to find this out, because it is all about the people. And if we can understand how these people are working, we're going to know how we can make that, like you said, that harmonious, like, work environment where we can really serve our clients. And I did like that you said words have 9 different meanings. I find that so cool that we all think of language. And anyways, I could go on and on. And it's just really fascinating. One thing I'd like to know a little bit is just the earlier days of, like, you have this incredible product, this incredible thing that you're offering these people to really get this awareness. How did it start? Like, what was the beginning ages? And did you come across any struggles, maybe getting people to like believe in it, that they want to trust your system? Like, how was that experience?
Well, absolutely. Introducing new information or a new product or a new concept into the world is super challenging, because people are like, well, what is that? Why do I care? And they may not even take the time to get those questions answered. You have such a short amount of time to have an impact on people. Mm. When we first found out, we actually decided we would go and research this. So we spent about 10 years, from 2012 to about 2-3 years ago, about 9 years, to really stand in front of as many people as we could, so that we could sit there and say that we have 8,000 people that we have worked with around the world, all races, all 50-something nationalities, culture. This information crosses that, and we have a genuine sample of that is significant and powerful, and as far as we can tell, disprovable, although we haven't disproven it yet. So it fits into the scientific criteria for research, but we really had to relay that out for people who want to see that part from us. So working with organizations like Montana State University here, we've various others, we have both had to lay that out, but then also bringing this new information in, it creates a powerful impact. Like, you had a powerful experience. How do we know that about you? How do we know about the core you? Well, we did it because we looked at your body, and you have the body of natural number 2, and we've talked to 1,000 natural number 2s, and they've told us very specifically what it's like to be a natural number two.
And your body is really the way that we tell, as you experience. And we learned that because starting in 2012, we started going to festivals around the country and internationally, and we gave people the chance to, what we said at the time was, know your superpower. And there's always a fair chunk of people that want to know their superpower because
people are curious. Yes, we want to know each other. We want ourselves better.
Yeah, and so we would work with these people. Then they'd go back to their friends and say, "You've got to do this. You've got to do this." So we worked with about 150-ish the first year, and by the time we'd finished, we were working with 100 plus people a day, 1,000 people in a week, and we got to know the physicality of the body. So
at a very micro level detail.
So what muscles, what bone structure, what fascia were being used, what movements in the body,
shape of the face, micro movements, little things that you do, gestures, all of these things are constantly revealing your natural number.
And so we worked, and we've talked to the medical profession, doctors, and et cetera, physical therapists, everybody, to go over, okay, what muscles are doing what and why. And so we're very much observers of the human condition, and we learned by talking to people. They would tell us what their reality was, and we would boil it down to, well, and then we'd test it with other people. So when you work with 8,000 people, you can say, well, 100 people have told us this, does this make sense? And people would say, absolutely, or no, not really. So we let go of the nurture.
Yeah, and going back to your question was, what challenges do we face? Obviously, introducing new information was our biggest. So we really had to make that information bulletproof and powerful and quick. So you don't have to take a 150-word questionnaire or questionnaire for us to know. We know who you are within minutes, and our ability to do that is is solid. Yeah. So we got as good at our job as we possibly could. We are absolutely masters at this work. Now we're learning how to teach it to others so they can master it. So the next thing is making any business scalable, right? So how do I scale this identification process, and how do I scale the impact that it has? And so that's where we're facing now, is how do we scale this as our next big business challenge. So we're training people as fast as we can to do what we do. So transferring your own knowledge from your perspective. So me as a 6 and Martin as a 5, we're training people of all natural numbers. So we have to know how to speak to them and how to teach them how to do what we do and activate the energies in their body. So it's really a fun experience.
Yeah, because teaching someone to activate all the centers in your body, because you have all 9 in your body.
Yep.
The one that is yours is the prevalent one, it's your nature. You learn the other 8. But it took us about 6 months-ish to do the first school that we did, to classes, so that people could do what we do. But we've got it down now to a couple of weekends. We did a class about 3 months ago, and within a weekend of doing the class and then a week of practice and watching, people were already starting to identify. So learning how to teach it, learning how to bring it out in the world, there's the getting over, let's talk to the early adopters, let's talk to the curious, let's talk to the people that are really wanting to change the world and know that there's more out there than they're currently doing, which is, I suspect, most of your audience. And then, teaching people to do it, and then taking it out there and having this difference in the world, because this is a chance for humanity to get better.
Yeah, for us to be more loving of each other, or accepting and more understanding. The other thing that we did was we've written it down as much as we can. So we have our 2 books that describe the system and what you can do with it and how you can develop it. And that was another way that we are able to scale, because we're able to reach many more people with our books.
And then doing things through Zoom. Initially, we did things physically, which is how we learned the physiology. But when COVID came along, we had to learn how to do this over Zoom, and now we've done hundreds of identifications over Zoom.
Which is really another, that was the big thing. How do you pivot when, Zoom showed up and all of a sudden our business models no longer worked? We had to pivot big time, which is staying open to how do you apply your own technology to keep changing and growing. And that's been another great learning experience.
It's about courage and making wise decisions, and that part of the ability to activate yourself, to know and be honored for who you are, gives you the ability to know who you are. And once you know who you are, it's very hard for other people to peer pressure you off who you are.
So you have more choice. So you're more aware of your own belief systems and how they're driving you. You are able to look at yourself from your big purpose and say, hey, am I and my belief systems and my behaviors in alignment with that important part of me? And that gives you choice. And when you have choice about how you're behaving, life gets a lot easier. You have a lot more freedom. You can't get pressured into things the way you can when you're suffering from unconscious belief systems.
Because every startup, that somebody has a vision. I want to do this for the world, or I want to do this because it's important, or I like doing it, or all the above.
Yeah, or I've got this great invention.
Yeah, and so knowing that that's coming from your natural purpose because it's who you are and how you phrase it to the world. And part of the challenge that we face is that everything we do, we have to talk about 9 ways.
So it's a complicated system. I wish they had designed a much simpler one, whoever they are.
Whoever it was, yes. So,
but the reality is there's 9 versions of language and 9 things that people care about. There's 9 ways to connect with people and build relationship. And so it is, when you're thinking about the marketing, we've at least tried to chunk it down to, well, okay, half the world really cares about connection first. So let's make connection. That has to happen, right? And then the other half cares about what's the impact and how do I do this? So you can focus there, but you have to do both sides of that.
And the one thing to emphasize is that only half the world wants to make eye contact and finds it empowering and useful and a way to build relationship. The other half, for example, I had to learn how to make eye contact and enjoy it, because most of the time someone made strong eye contact with me, as you do. It's like, oh, this is really nice, but I can't process and make eye contact at the same time. And it's not because I'm disrespecting you. I love being with people your natural number because it feels good, but I can't process and look you in the eye.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Right. If you take nothing else from this conversation, it is just noticing how do people use their eyes. Are they offering you a gift of connection with their eyes? And what kind of gift is it? What is available for there if you actually hold eye contact and engage with somebody? It's quite different than if you don't.
And in a personal relationship, you and your partner and your kids are not like you.
Yeah. Is there one? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, is there one common thing that everyone has? You said it's like 50% eye contact, but is there one thing that's really common across the field, or one thing that's lacking that's across the field?
Well, there is one thing. We all have human bodies. However, every single one of the natural numbers, whichever style of body you have, it's equipped differently. So imagine this is your spacesuit for riding on planet Earth, and when you get here, it's turned on in a particular way. Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly what it is. You're in an Earth suit here, turned on in a particular way.
It's very much,
don't know it.
It's very much about how does your natural number interpret the messages you're getting from your body.
And from outside your body.
Yeah. So as a natural number 5, I'm about context. Now my eyesight is okay. Many natural number 5s wear glasses, as it turns out. But when I do natural number 3, my eyesight gets better. Just by changing my natural number, it determines how my body responds. And that's just weird.
I'll have to try that next time I'm trying to read ingredients on a bottle.
Yeah.
It really shows how powerful the mind-body environment connection really is, and how much it actually changes our like full-on demeanor. The power there is incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, we like the term physio-spiritual because we think our bodies are physio-spiritual containers. We have a physiological side, but we have a spiritual side, we have an emotional side, and bringing those back together in harmony is part of the work that we think we do here with the Body of 9. Because when you have these things in harmony, when you're not out of balance, everybody has a spiritual component. Everybody has a physical component. How much that influences you changes by natural number, for sure. The odd numbers are a lot more body-based and are influenced by their body more than the even numbers are more body-based and driven by their body. The odd numbers know we have a body, but it's not as powerful an influencer on how we make decisions. And little things like that occur.
Or where we get our information from.
Yeah.
Because the odd numbers actually get their information from outside the body.
Yeah.
Whereas for 2, 4, 6, and 8, it's much more so, what is my body telling me about what's happening in this moment?
Which is weird and a little esoteric, but we like to focus on the body because this stuff isn't woo-woo. It's about your body. And so the more that we focus on your body, the more that this becomes real and can be easily explained without even stepping into the
esoteric part.
The esoteric part.
But if you talk to anybody that's a natural number 7, if you don't address the fact that they're able to access new information outside the realm of this world naturally and easily, because that's their function, they wouldn't feel seen. Because every natural number 7 out there has the ability to bring new information into this sphere. They operate as boundaryless human beings. And if you didn't tell them that, they would basically say, yeah, bullshit, excuse my language, but
okay.
you have no idea how I operate.
Yeah.
But we can say that to 7s, then they go, oh, How do you know that? Nobody else seems to know that about me. How do you know that about me?
Because we're pretty sure that Steve Jobs had natural number 7. And look how he changed the world. He brought the user interface, and yes, it wasn't, he didn't invent it, but he got it from and brought it into the public domain. He got the ability.
Well, he changed how we use, how we listen to music
as well, yeah. So
he just had visions for possibilities for humanity, and he was particularly good at building teams, right, which is another attribute of natural number 7. Particularly attractive around that vision and holding that. So if you've got a leader that's a natural number 7, they're going to lead in a very particular way.
And Tony Robbins, for example, we're pretty sure has natural number 3, and he inspires you. Thousands of people go to Tony Robbins courses and get inspired, and then they leave.
And they're like, what happened? Where'd my inspiration go?
Because part of our roles as leaders is knowing our strengths and knowing how we can motivate people.
And also how we can enable people to continue to do what we help them do when they leave. And one of the things that most spiritual teachings out there, or most modalities, don't take into account the fact that we are different. There's this fundamental assumption that this works for me, so it must work for you. You just need to be better at being like me. And that doesn't really land very well for people.
For employees or family members,
yeah,
as it turns out.
Because we're not like each other. And we all have, parents who try to give all kids the same, right? You can't treat your children the same. They're different.
Even twins, even triplets.
Even identical twins are have different natural numbers. That we think that's how you can tell them apart.
Wow.
So our bodies are very specifically informing us in very specific ways. And it's, we can do a lot of inadvertent harm without knowing this.
Wow.
Is a definite market advantage to know this about the people with you and your clients and your customers. If you can address, we love working with realtors, for example, because when they realize that half their clients want a relationship and half don't, that makes life easier, because they can focus on relationship with the people that care and giving data to the people that don't.
Right.
That simplistically level, that's a very simplistic example, and it's a very easy example, but imagine that times 9 and the complexity of what we do. But the ability to build teams that respect each other and ask for each other to bring their best game, and knowing what that best game is, it's a game changer.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds like everyone needs this. I'm like, maybe I need to get on board. So you said that you do some certification programs, and now you're helping helping coaches to teach this as well. Who exactly are you looking for that type of program?
Well, right now we're looking for those early adopters who really want something new that will differentiate them from what they're doing, and don't think they know everything already. Because what we encounter so often is, I was like, well, it's working for me. I'm doing fine. I got happy clients. I have no need to change. Well, I would argue that you could be 10 times more or 9 times more effective if you understood this about your clients and about yourself. And people are way too content. So if you're not content, we want those people who really want to embrace new information
and want to help change the world. This is going to sound a little fantastic and a little bit sort of airy-fairy, but we really believe that this gives us hope about humanity and humanity's ability to evolve. Because there's a small chance or a big chance we're going to turn out like Mad Max. We're going to have the desert with no water and everything's going to be hot. And so we can only change the people around us, but by ourselves. And the people that really want to change humanity, the ability to know more and ask more and be more, we're here to help.
Right. And that leads me back to your question again about, the value of this and how we apply it. But it's through collaboration and teamwork that we grow our businesses as well. We're collaborating with a bunch of authors who are writing books, and we're identifying all those authors and giving a context for their wisdom. So now, instead of just writing one book, we're writing a book that gets out to 50 different audiences that it wouldn't get out. And then that team of authors works together to promote and get this information out, both their wisdom, but also the context of their wisdom. So that's a super powerful way. That's an example of the kind of collaboration that we can do company to company. In small companies, it's very hard to succeed.
Coaches or business trainers, if you are a business coach and you want to go into business and you really want to differentiate, the ability to know the natural number of the people you're working with and to supercharge their organization, just the ability to be able to help people know and honor them for who they are. It's amazing that most of us don't feel seen. Most of us don't feel acknowledged. Most of us don't understand that if we don't show up as who we are, there's a gap.
Well, and it's even slightly sadder than that, which is most of us don't know who we are at
Mhm.
this gift level because our nurture is so heavy on top of it.
Mhm. Right.
And so we think we are a nurture, which we are, obviously, but that underlying nature is so powerful. It's so perfect. It's so whole
Mhm.
within us. And this bringing out of that wholeness just makes everything more receivable, more understandable, better connecting. All of the aspects of this work come together.
And we love working with families because, unfortunately, our parents inadvertently don't respect us and honor us for who we are. They respect and honor us for who they'd like us to be, and they try to give us the best advantage by making us a little bit more like them, but we're not like them.
Yeah.
We joke that it saves thousands of dollars in therapy to know who your natural number children are.
Well, and I think the hardest thing in parenting is understanding why your children are behaving the way they are. Because we make up the reasons for those behaviors, and we get very disappointed in our children because we think that they're doing things for reasons that aren't even within their purview of their imagination. And that massive misunderstanding is where we clamp down in areas where we shouldn't, and we don't support in areas where we should.
And that's the same business.
Yep, same for
as
business.
a manager, you want the best out of the people that work for you, but you want the best for the business as well. But those things are not actually in conflict. Although many people think they are, they're not in conflict, because the more that you can honor the people working for you and inspire them to be their best based on their natural purpose.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe that means moving people around sometimes. You possibly don't want people that need to be in a relationship out on an office on their own. You maybe want people that are happy with conflict as long as it's authentic, working with a team that needs some clearing. So there's a lot of things that as you understand the people in your organization,
you can use those strengths more effectively.
And actually ask for those strengths to be given. Yeah. Because if you've got someone that is not feeling appreciated, they're not going to give the best to the organization. And for a startup, that's so important. Everybody has to be putting their weight at least 100%. Mm-hmm. And you need to recognize them for what they're doing and honor them for who they are.
Yeah, and then in the boss subordinate relationship, understanding what does your boss need. So if you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 for a boss, you have to go in and you have to connect. You have to build the relationship. You have to be vulnerable with them. You have to express who you are, and that's a really important part. But if you've got a natural number 8 who just wants to know what are you going to do, when are you going to get it done, and are there any problems, and do you need any resources? Mm-hmm. There's no conversation about the connection in that conversation. They'll chit chat with you, but and like being with you, but it's not the driver. So understanding the drivers for the people that you're working with makes a huge difference as well.
Yeah, I can see the power with it. And I really like just the idea of you're bringing it to the level of humanity where it relates to everything. It relates to the families, the businesses, startups, individual solopreneurs. Every single person on this earth is going to be able to take something from it. And I think that's probably the most powerful thing, that it totally relates to every aspect of what we're trying to do here. And I really appreciate just that deep sense. It's the natural, like who we really are. And you kind of hit a string with me of just saying that we don't even know who we are sometimes. And we're just overlapped with all like what do you call it? Like all like basically the things that are just happening to us, the nurture. And some people's nurture really sets them up for like failure in life. And if they don't really understand their nature and learn how to empower that, then where are they going to go? And I think this is absolutely incredible stuff. And I'm inspired. I think this is so great. And just the level of connection that we can build and learn ourselves. And it all starts with us. So if we can do that and show up, hopefully we don't become like Mad Max. That's the goal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But this gives me hope. So.
It does. It does. We did a podcast with a woman named Lindsay Ricknell. She's a 3 that lives in Calgary, and her podcast was all about hope. And we're like, yeah, this is the thing that we like. And it's why we stay with it. We've been working hard on this for many, many years. With any startup where you have a deep passion for something, and it feels really poised to go out into the world in a much bigger way. So we appreciate your help in getting it there.
Anyone that wants to partner with us, bodyof9.com.
Bodyof9.com.
bodyof9.com. That's where to go. And yeah, I feel like you've covered so many things, but if you have one final piece of advice, one last thing that you want listeners to think about, what would it be?
Everybody's different than you. They have a gift for you, and helping them find that gift will help you and them.
Love it.
Yes. find out your natural number and find out the natural number of the people in your life. And it will begin an unanticipated and unimaginable shift in your experience of life.
We guarantee that everyone that gets the experience is happier and more in alignment with their path within 6 months.
Awesome. Perfect. So hopefully people listening will check you out. And I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your work with us. I think it's going to be a game changer.
Thank you.
Thank you.